Hi. So today is one of those days where you ever have those days where you just feel weird? Like you don't know why you feel weird. You don't know what it is or how to fix it or how to change it. And hold up 1 second. Because this is so far away. Now it seems too close. Yeah. And this probably won't be edited, so I'm just like ruining the video. Okay, now I can see my face. Yeah, so I woke up feeling like that. Actually, it's been for the past few days. And it's like, And if today's Thursday, then I've been feeling this strange way, overthinking things and feeling uncomfortable for like, since the past weekend, right? So I always ask myself, what's going on? What's making me overanalyze things? What's making me feel a certain way? But this is something I've learned about myself recently. I guess it's not recently I've learned it a long time ago, but now I'm kind of like putting it into like perspective, I guess. I am very much so what they call an empath. You know those people that they go into a room or a space or they deal with others and they automatically feel something before anybody speaks a word, anybody looks their way, or anybody says anything? That's exactly who I am. So when you're like that, and I've always known that I was very sensitive to other people, but in order for me not to suck in what's happening with other people all the time, I sort of block it off, right? So I take people in doses and I spend a little time here, a little time there, but I don't do too much because I'll take it on. I do the same thing even with my writing. If I read a certain style for too long of a certain author, I start to feel and think and act the way they do. It's like I'm very mutable in that way. I'm a chameleon, and it's also a benefit because you can go into certain environments and you know how to read the room really well, and you can laugh and joke and have fun with everybody and mix and mingle with everyone because you are so in tune to what everybody's feeling and what they're doing and what they're going through, right? It's a good, I don't know if there's such thing as good and bad, but it's a double-edged sword. I guess that's the best way to put it. And so if I'm around groups of people or whatever, and somebody's feeling a lot of pain or somebody's feeling a lot of angst or anything that they're going through, I carry that feeling with me like for like 3 or 4 days. It's crazy. And I'm just like, what was I doing? Where was I at, And so sometimes people think that I'm just like standoffish or mean. It has nothing to do with them. I would love to be able to sit in people's space, and I may be getting to that point. I may be working and getting better at that. I would love to be able to sit in people's space and not absorb everything that they have going on and just not entertain things that I don't want to entertain and let my thoughts kind of, oh, that's interesting, and move on. But it's never ever been that way. And so I see it also in my oldest daughter. When she's around, if I'm not feeling a certain way, or if I'm feeling strange or in a weird mood, she's like, are you okay? And she's been doing that since she was like 2 years old, since she was able to speak. Are you happy today, mommy? She would literally ask me that. And so it's like being oblivious is not an option. And so my thing is, in dealing with this type of personality and knowing that's who you are, how do you interact with others without being so affected by what they're going through? And it's not like negating or pushing them away or being rude to them. It's not having to have everyone meet you at a certain standard in order for you to connect and be in the same environment as them, right? Because sometimes I'm around people and you have a lot of drama going on in their lives, and it's like, this is going wrong, that's going wrong, and this is going wrong. My initial automatic response to that type of thing is, I'm gonna cool off talking to them until they work out this issue, whatever they have happening, whether it's a relationship or something. And someone might say, but no, people may need you, they may need to talk to you, they may need to, but I'm not always the best person for that on a daily basis. Like, I can step in that one time and we can have a good lunch and we can discuss things and I can tell you how I feel about it, and if you care, you'll tell me what's going on with your life and all that kind of stuff, and I can step away from it. But I'm not a day-to-day help you solve your drama kind of person. That's not who I am. And being that type of personality, it also lends you to walking into a space and always trying to make people get over things. It's not that you want to make people get over things. It's just that you want them to see their situation or what they're going through in a way that impacts them positively. So there's like, to me, there's only two ways to see the world. And this is on a very macro level, overly simplified way that I'm about to put this out there. Two ways to see the world, and that's kind of like through the eyes, through your eyes, and a perception of making it seem like your life is worse than what it is, or your chances are worse than what it is, or your life, you're negatively impacted. Or you can see anything, any circumstance, or any situation through the lens of how can I view this in a way that positively impacts me, that promotes everything that I believe to be true about myself. And so it doesn't matter what the situation is, how awful it is, or how traumatic something is that someone is going through. I know for a fact that there's always a way to see that trauma in a way that benefits you as opposed to holding you back. And so that's like my plight in life. I've always attributed to any of my growth and any opportunities and any getting over things and moving forward in life with the idea that I can look at everything and see it that way. And so sometimes I find myself, if I'm hanging in certain, I was hanging at certain levels, or how do I say this? If I'm not tapping into that higher part of myself, I find myself in a collective, in that collective energy with other people. And that's not to say that they don't tap into that higher part of themselves, but we start meeting each other right in that area of aggravation, negativity, conflict, and pettiness, or either judgment, trying to change people, trying to over advise people, trying to control things and all. And so my goal is to meet people when we're both at the level of, you know, seeing the world through abundance and gratitude and, you know, love and appreciation for everything around us. But sometimes if I find myself in that level, I'm really cautious about who do I call, who do I contact, what do I get involved with? Because I know that even though this person or these people or whoever it is, you know, it doesn't matter with me. I'm very in touch with what's going on around me emotionally and spiritually. I'm very sensitive to what's happening around me. And I used to spend my life wearing that on the outside. I used to spend my life when I was younger sharing all that with everybody everywhere I went. Everything was emotional, everything was an upheaval, everything was a lot of energy. But what I realized, people that I wanted to sort of take on better qualities of, like people that were more centered, more grounded, more level-headed, when I would be around them, it's like they wouldn't want to hang with me too long, because they always felt like I was dumping this, you know, this powerful emotional energy into their space, and I was, and I didn't realize it. So I mean, over time, soul searching, I don't even deal with anxiety anymore, and I used to deal with that heavily. Lots of pain, lots of anger and bitterness and all that kind of stuff in my 20s. And it's like I've gotten to a place now where everything is so even keeled. Some days I'm just like, God, I'm bored. Where's the drama? And I think my brain makes up a little drama a little bit, even if I'm not interested in having it. And so I have to tell myself, you know, that's not good. Look for something exciting and positive to happen, not something related to some level of drama. But it does keep you at a distance with a lot of people and things that's happening in their lives, because you're like, if they're fighting with mates or having negative experiences with their children, things that you don't necessarily go through on a regular basis, it's easy to back off some while they figure that out. Because I know for me, it didn't matter what people was telling me when I was all in a hoopla about every single thing that happened in my life. I was going to see it the way I wanted to see it. I was going to see it negatively if I wanted to. So now, I mean, for most recently, I've been around people, and sometimes it bothers me. You know, I want to complain about something, and they're like, well, you know what, it might be this. And I'm like, Urgh. But I'm like, you know what, you're right. You're right. And, you know, I'm like a cat. I was telling a friend of mine that the other day, and I'm like a cat cornered. You know, I'm not big on being advised of anything. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. I don't like it. And I'm like, you know what? I always know when something needs to be adjusted or changed because I'm very in tune with me. My idea of advice is when things seem weird or not in the right place, is to take a break and to be quiet and to be still long enough to hear the intuition that is going to guide me next. I always think other people don't truly have insight into what you should be doing. That's just never, I don't believe it. And I don't know what other people think about that. I don't believe that other people have real insight because they don't really know what's being worked on inside of you. They can't see you from all those infinite possibilities like the universe can. And so when they're giving you advice, it's based on what's happening in them and how they perceive you and the perception that they have of themselves. So like when people give advice and they do things, I'm really good at listening and going, I do that a lot now. And it's not to say that they won't say anything negative, but before I move forward with anything or before I take anything to the next level or begin to digest my feelings about things, I get quiet first. I get quiet. So, you know, it's good to have people around that show you kind of the flip side of things. And so sometime I might want to complain, oh, you know, guess what, a family member did or something like that. And they're like, you know what, maybe they want to see you. And I'm just like, you're making me see them as a whole person and a human being, and I don't want to. I mean, and I want to, and I will. But, you know, just like anybody else, I like to vent about things and then move on from them. And when I vent and move on, I don't necessarily always look for, you know, somebody to solve it for me. I think everybody has a built-in mechanism that helps them solve their own issues if they're quiet enough and still enough to hear it, moving them forward. So why am I talking to y'all today? I don't know. I just felt like pulling out the camera. I was sitting here feeling weird, and I had been around, you know, hanging out in the neighborhood and went to the lake, and I didn't feel like exercising today because I was just like, you know, I'm wearing a dress today. I'm not about to get out there and walk in the sun, but I enjoy it. I just didn't feel like doing it today. And stopped at the beauty store for a second to pick up a product and listen to some good music to switch the mood. I love reggae. Did that for a second, you know. Came back when I felt like I was just wasting gas, doing a few things. Realizing that, you know, everybody works a lot. So everybody I know like works during the daytime. And I kind of work when, you know, I get to it. I teach online a lot. My classes haven't started yet. So my days are kind of like, you know, my daughters are on an extended weekend with their granny, and they're going, you know, on another road trip. They've been having a crazy good summer. Those girls are they're really living it up. They're teaching me a few things about letting gratitude and excitement about life just carry you from one adventure to the other. And I'm looking forward to an adventure with them later on this month. But when I find myself looking around, I'm just like, okay, I don't have the distraction of my daughters to take me into their little world and have me solve their little issues. And I can't reach this and I can't do that. And what do we do next? And the homeschool, we started back up. And so I find myself sometimes like, I don't feel like working on my stuff. I got my computer here. And I don't feel like writing today. I don't feel like working on my book. And when I get into that mode, I don't touch it because I know that I'm not a slacker, and, you know, I can write and I do it when I'm ready, and I'm just not ready to do it. So I guess that's all I had to talk about today. When you're feeling in that way and you're feeling kind of weird and you're feeling those strange moods, it's good to be still and be quiet.